Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, it is currently international break, and we are all tired of this crap, man. What is this now? The third international break so far this season, bro? I'm tired of this, bro. I don't care about any one of these games. What I care about is watching my team play, watching FC Barcelona play, and of course, any of you who aren't Barcelona fans, watching your own respective clubs play as well, week in, week out. But unfortunately, we will have to wait another week for club football to return. But as a Barcelona fan, during this international break, we have been treated with some pretty good news. Some pretty good news that we can be very optimistic about when we return in a week's time. Some of this news being that Barcelona finally will return to the Camp Nou. Finally, man. It's been a long time coming now. Lionel Messi returning to the Camp Nou. What a beautiful photo that was. And the main news that is making all us Barcelona fans optimistic after international break is the return of the injured players. The return of many key players. Players that we have been missing for a while now. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. A fully fit team. A fully fit team. Everyone back in the squad. What is the best team? What is the team that Hansi Flick must go up with as the strongest team from now to at least the halfway point of the season? Till, mid-winter break, whatever you call that stuff, right? Until January. What is the strongest team that Hansi Flick will be going with? So, I'm going to pick my 11. If you guys disagree or agree with any of them that I'm about to mention, let me know down in the comments below. And give me reasons why, guys. I wanna hear your reasons. Explain yourselves. I love reading your guys' comments, and we can have a little back and forth where we have to. But if you disagree with anything I'm about to say, or if you agree with anything I'm about to say, let me know in the comments below. Please, I beg you. All right? Let's get into it. Starting off with the goalkeeper. I think we all know who it must be. None other than Mr. Juan Garcia. Not Juan Garcia. Juan Garcia. Wow, he has been missed. And I think this game against Celta Vigo in the past weekend emphasized it even further why we were missing this guy. Because Chesney, those 2 goals, man, very questionable. Yes, our defense was disgusting. It was terrible. We let them do too easily. But you're the man we're looking at to save us. And you completely flopped. That first goal he conceded, yeah, you could have done better there. And I know Joan Garcia, if he was in that situation, he would have done better. And that second goal, disgusting. The second goal from Iglesias, what was that? I know Joan Garcia, if he was in goal, he would have saved us. But Joan Garcia, as we all know, was our marquee signing in the summer. The guy that we all thought coming to the season was going to be our savior. After years of suffering in the goalkeepers with Ter Stegen last season, that time Chesney, Iñaki Peña. Now we have none other than Joan Garcia to be the future for Barcelona's goalkeeping situation. And so far at the beginning of the season, where he was giving his opportunity before his injury, he was doing great. He was doing amazing. Looking back at the Rayo Vallecano game where he completely saved us from embarrassment against Newcastle, stepping up in the first major game of the season. This guy clearly has all of our trusts. And finally, he's back. Unfortunately, he wasn't available for some of the other important games like Real Madrid, like PSG. Who knows how the outcomes would have been if he was in goal. But now that we have him back, we know we have someone we can trust. Not only to make crucial saves, to be a leader in the back line, but also someone that can play with their feet, man. That has confidence with their feet. Because Chesney, man, he's been scaring me, bro. He's been scaring me. When I see the ball on his feet, I'll be shook. But finally, Joan Garcia is back, and I saw he had a little interview where he was like, "I'm gonna fight for my place. When I come back, I'm gonna fight so I can get back to. I'm gonna work hard." Stop with that humble gimmick, bro. I'm not hearing that humble gimmick. What did I say? That humble gimmick. I'm not hearing any of that. You're gonna get straight into the bro. We've been all licking our lips to find out when you were coming back, and finally you're back. Where it said he's gonna be back for the Athletic Club game. You're getting straight in there, bro. Where no working hard. No, you're getting straight in there. We don't give up. It's Chesney, bro. There's no competition there. All right? We can have conversation later on if maybe Chesney should be the third choice goalkeeper because he's not been looking great. Maybe Ter Stegen be the second choice, but who cares? The first choice is you, Joan Garcia. You're going to come straight into the 11 immediately when you get cleared. So, boom. Joan Garcia, clearly our number 1. Now, the back line. The back line, starting at left back, Alejandro Balde. Alejandro Balde. And you guys may be wondering, why am I using this photo? Why am I using this photo? Because this is something that we've been missing throughout this whole season. Practically the majority of the season, because Alejandro Balde, as we all know, went out with an injury for a couple. He missed a couple games where Gerard Martin had to fill in. And Alejandro Balde was definitely a big miss, because we all understand that Alejandro Balde 100% isn't anywhere near the finished article. He's still a very young guy. He still has a lot of things to improve, but he is definitely a step above Gerard Martin, especially going forward, especially offering support to the likes of Marcus Rashford, who's been practically our left winger this whole season, considering Rafinha has been out as well. So this is something that I've been dying to see. The link up between Rashford and Alejandro Balde. We all know Alejandro Balde likes Rashford. He loves Rashford as well. He was asked one time, who is one player you would bring from any other team? And he said Marcus Rashford. So we know there's only more to come with this duo right here. That they're going to link up. They're going to start to understand. We've seen little specks of these guys understanding each other, getting that playing time finally. And we've been seeing it, it could work. It could work. Now we just need more time. Need more time how these guys can understand each other, and boom, we're going to get greatness. So Alejandro Balde clearly gets the left back spot. Gerard Martin, nowhere near his level. Defensively, you can say Alejandro Balde still has some weaknesses. He's not the perfect art. He's not the finished article. He has a lot of things to improve. But going forward, basically all of last season, our left winger, such a one-on-one threat. Like, this guy offers everything. And again, it's just going to give the freedom to either Rafinha or Rashford, whoever Hansi Flick decides to play on the left-hand side. He's going to give them the freedom to do their thing, to have great link-up play. Someone they can trust as a partner. And Alejandro Balde is that perfect partner. So, clearly, he is our left back. Now, moving on to our center back pairings. Many choices here. Christensen, Eric Garcia, Araujo, Pau Cubarsí, Gerard Martin. We have many options, but the duo I have decided to go with are Pau Cubarsí and Ronald Araujo. Now, I think Cubarsí, I think it's pretty evident that Hansi Flick loves Cubarsí. Since the moment he's joined FC Barcelona, the main guy who is undoubtedly pretty much started every single game as a center back for Hansi Flick has been Pau Cubarsí. If anytime he was available, he'd be like, all right, Cubarsí, go play. Go play. I trust you. Because we all understand the player that Cubarsí is. From a very young age, since he started his career, like I'm saying, very, very young age, he's still very young. But since he started his career at Barcelona, thanks to Xavi, by the way, he has done incredible things. His ball playing ability, that confidence that we have in him. Again, he's also like Alejandro Balde, where he's not the perfect article. But what we're seeing from such a young age, this guy, he's only gonna get better, right? He's only gonna get better, and the best way to get that betterness, it's not a word, but the betterness out of him is to keep on playing him, right? And he fully deserves it, right? I wouldn't say this is the strongest start of the season for him. I wouldn't say he's been incredible, but let's be honest, the whole back line hasn't been incredible, right? But we all know what he offers us, the qualities that he offers us. Like, no one matches it. Maybe besides Eric Garcia, if you want to play him in the center back, though, especially just when it comes to ball at his feet. But Cubarsí, he's pretty much been the main guy for Hansi Flick since he's joined FC Barcelona. So I'm sure he's going to continue to trust him no matter what, right? Again, we'll have rotations here or there, but Cubarsí is definitely one of the main guys. Now, when it comes to the other partner, when it comes to Ronald Araujo, I know people will have their doubts with Ronald Araujo. I know people are going to say Eric Garcia has to start there, maybe even Christensen, because I've also been someone that wanted to see a lot more Christensen, and so far this season, we've barely seen it. Of course, injuries have played a role in that as well, but also, I'm guessing just Hansi Flick doesn't fully trust Christensen for some reason. I don't know, because I think Christensen at his best can start for FC Barcelona. But as of now, he's trusted more Eric Garcia and Ronald Araujo to be the pairing alongside Cubarsí. Now, the reason I'm putting Ronald Araujo is because this is the season where we have to get the best out of Araujo. This is the season, because I've said it earlier on. I made a video very early on where I talked about the three main players I was looking at for the until January time and for the whole season, basically, which was Dani Olmo, Gerard Martin, and one of them was 100% Ronald Araujo. Where for years now, we've touted this guy as a great defender, that he can be a world-class defender for Barcelona, but he hasn't shown it. He hasn't shown it enough, at least. He had like maybe one good season under Xavi when we won the league. But besides that, it's not been enough. And this guy, we already know he's been part of many disastrous moments for Barcelona, more specifically in the Champions League, right? So this guy has gotten killed many, many times, right? We had an offer last season from Juventus where I would say the fan base was split. Get rid of him. Some of us were saying to keep him. I was saying to keep him. Hansi Flick was definitely saying to keep him. The Barcelona squad were saying to keep him because, of course, it's a matter of depth, but it's also a matter of the qualities that Araujo brings that no other defender has from our Barcelona squad right now, which is that physicality aspect, his pace, and I would say the leadership. I would say that's one of the reasons that Hansi Flick wants to trust Araujo as well, is because he's one of the main captains. I think he's the first captain right now behind Ter Stegen, but it's just that leadership that the back line needs, right? Like last season was Inigo Martinez. Now this season it has to be Araujo. Again, Araujo definitely has his flaws, but he definitely has his positive aspects in him that if you get the best out of him, bro, he's going to be an incredible defender for you, right? He just needs that playing time. He just needs that confidence. Again, he's not perfect, but if we can get this guy in the right rhythm, if we can get the whole back line in the right rhythm, and Araujo being a part of that, we're going to see great things from Araujo, because what he offers, very few center backs in the world offer. So Araujo has to be his breakthrough season. We can't be waiting for this guy to eventually pop off. He's getting close to his prime years now. He has to pop off now. We can't wait another 2 years, another year, or another 2 years. He has to do it now, especially since he's one of the captains as well. Like, he has to do it now. So I'm jacking that. Araujo so far this season hasn't been terrible either. I think he's been pretty solid. He had like one terrible game, which was against Sevilla, where he got hooked at halftime. But I'm pretty sure he also got hooked because he wasn't fully fit either. But Araujo has been pretty solid so far. Now we just need to see it on a consistent basis throughout the whole season, and the only way you're getting that is by trusting your players, right? So I'm jacking that Hansi Flick will trust Araujo to be one of the main center back pairings from here on. So we'll see. Maybe things can change. And again, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. Just don't call me an idiot. Don't insult me. My feelings will get hurt. But right back position. We have two options: Jules Koundé, Eric Garcia. For those that watched my last video, I made a video talking about Jules Koundé and our right back situation in general, and I opted for Eric Garcia to be our right back from now on. And it hurts. It hurts because I still love Jules Koundé. I still have hope that he'll come back to his level. I don't know what's been up with him. You guys can go watch that video. It's a lot of question marks with Jules Koundé so far this season. But one guy that there's absolutely no question marks about is Eric Garcia. This guy has been outstanding so far this season. Outstanding. One of the best defenders, if not the best defender for Barcelona so far this season. I even saw a stat on Twitter that he has the most progressive passes in the final third in like top 3 in Europe right now, like, which is insane for a right back / center back, because he's played center back a lot throughout the season as well. But this guy has been in incredible form. Like, it's clear that loan move to Girona was needed for him to just take it up another level in his career. Because again, before his loan move to Girona, everyone was saying, get rid of this guy, get rid of him. The only person that really had hope in him was Xavi, because Xavi was like, bro, don't leave, don't go on loan. He wanted to keep him before he left to Girona, where of course they had an incredible season with Girona under Mikel. But Eric Garcia himself opted, bro, I have to go. I have to get some playing time. I have to get some more experience. I need a starting role. He went to Girona, got that experience, got the minutes he wanted, and he did great. And then he came back to Barcelona under Hansi Flick, and wow, what a season, what a breakthrough season he had last season. Of course, it was more of a rotational player. He was more on the bench because he wasn't one of the main guys last season. But every time he would come on, incredible. He would do great. And now so far this season, he's been trusted to start more games. Practically, he started the most games out of all the center backs, if I'm not mistaken. But he's been great. And like I really can't say he's had poor performances so far this season. Even the games that we've lost where we look bad, I can't really say that he's been poor. Like, I've actually been still one of the guys that's still been impressed with, even with the team has been playing bad, is Eric Garcia. Against Celta Vigo, I think he pretty much proved that he has to be our right back from now on. And it's not to say that he's going to permanently stay there, because he definitely has, I think the best Eric Garcia will still be as a center back. But as of right now, with the form that Jules Koundé is in, he has to play as a right back, because Jules Koundé is just not on it. It's just not on it. I have no confidence in Jules Koundé. I have confidence in Eric Garcia. So we have to play him as our right back from now on. Again, we'll see if Hansi Flick will decide to continue to trust Koundé after international break. We'll see, because that could still be a possibility. But Eddie Garcia so far, I think he should be our right back from now on. That's just my opinion. Again, let me know if you disagree. Now, when it comes to the midfield, the double pivot, I think it's pretty obvious. Frenkie de Jong and Pedri Gonzalez. When it comes to Pedri returning after international break, again, the tweet that I showed you at the beginning said that there's a possibility he'll make it back for Chelsea, right? Which is after the Athletic Club game. I'm kind of sus about that. I don't think it's 100% true. Maybe I'll say it's like maybe 60% true, because I'm like trying to trust any news media like outlet when it comes to Barcelona is very hard to trust. Like, just look at the summer we just had, like many bullshit news coming out basically every single day, right? So it seems like it's like, how you're very confused as to how Pedri's already coming back, considering the first news about Pedri's injury was that he'd be out for at least 8 weeks, or on at least like 4 to 5 weeks, right? And then it said 2 months, so he practically missing Atletico Madrid, he'd be missing Chelsea. And then Hansi Flick came out saying that it's looking like we'll get Pedri back soon. So I'm like, all right, so were they just capping at the beginning, saying that we'd be missing him for that long, or was the injury just not bad as they thought, right? So I don't know what the case may be, but if in any case he doesn't return by Chelsea, or maybe after Chelsea, well, then the other guy would be Casado and Frenkie de Jong, right? And Casado, man, he's just not been on it, right? To talk about Casado is kind of tough right now, because he is a player that I trust and I loved last season, and I even went into the season that he's second choice after Frenkie, right? If it's not Pedri or Frenkie, it's gonna be Casado, right? Even when Gavi was available still, and Bernal, everyone coming back, I still thought Casado had to be there because of how great he was last season. But so far this season, he hasn't been great. I'm sure after the Celta Vigo game, I don't think it was anything major where he'll be missing any type of games. But still, even when he's been playing, like he's had some solid games where I'm like, all right, you did pretty well, but nothing major like, wow, outstanding. This is the Casado we had from last season. So if Pedri doesn't come back for Athletic Club or for Chelsea, then Casado will be the main guy, and that's a different conversation, because he'll have to step up massively, because he's just not been great this season so far. But hopefully Pedri does come back. Hopefully it's not something rushed where we're going to risk him getting injured again, because that will be very disappointing and very sad, because we all know how pivotal he is for this Barcelona team. But if he does come back, great. Hopefully they were mistaken of how serious the injury was, and he'll come back 100%. And of course, we all know, like, there's no need to talk about Pedri anymore. Best midfielder in the world. Now, when it comes to Frenkie de Jong, the responsibility he's been taking since Pedri has been gone has been major, and he has stepped up. He has 100% stepped up. I think we saw it against Club Brugge. We saw it against even the latest against Celta Vigo, that he's had a tough task, because Casado, Dani Olmo, who filled in against Celta Vigo, playing the double pivot alongside him, they just don't offer as much help as Pedri did for Frenkie de Jong, right? So he's had to step up massively in the midfield, and I think he's done the job. And we already know Frenkie de Jong is such a quality midfielder, where when he's on it, bro, he's just incredible, right? He's just incredible, and of course he's a leader as well. Wears the armband, so Frenkie de Jong clearly gets into this double pivot easily, no doubt about it, right? So enough for that. That's the midfield. The number 10, we have two options: Dani Olmo, Fermín López. Right? Fermín López. Clearly, it is Fermín López. Fermín López has been great so far this season. He has stepped up. He has taken initiative to become the number 10 for Barcelona over the likes of the player that we spent 60 million on, which is Dani Olmo. Because, again, Dani Olmo, for many people, he's a lost cause. For many people, they just lost complete trust in him. Again, for me, it's the same situation as Jules Koundé, where I still, in my balls, I just feel like you have something in you. Just, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know what it is with him. But a lot of people have had their doubts with Dani Olmo, and it's fair, right? It's 100% fair to have those doubts, and it's 100% fair to say that you are not getting into this team until you prove us wrong, right? Against Celta Vigo, he stepped up, and we have to be grateful that he took on that role that he's nowhere near used to, and he did pretty good against pretty well against Celta Vigo. But as the number 10 from now on, he's just not he doesn't have that confidence with us Barca fans as Fermin does currently. Fermin has been outstanding so far this season. He has stepped up even in games where we were missing a lot of our key players. So he clearly deserves to continue playing as our number 10. Again, the same thing as Balde, the same thing as Cubarsí. Is he the finished article? Nowhere near. He's still a very young guy. Like he's still prone to make some mistakes. He's still prone. Like the main argument I've had at the beginning of the season, I said that Dani Olmo had to be our main number 10 because Dani Olmo, if he plays well, right? If he's actually on it, he can offer great things for Barcelona. But it wasn't to say that Fermin was completely out of it, had no chance, right? But the one criticism I have with Fermin, which I thought we clearly saw it in the Clásico, was that sense of immaturity, that sense of calmness at times, where sometimes he makes rash decisions, the wrong decisions. Like in the Clásico, right? We had that 3v2, and he shot it himself instead of passing it, right? He had that selfish moment in him, which, again, at times it works for him, but there are times where you have to make the right decision. There are times where you just have to be level-headed and make the right decision, right? When Dani Olmo tends to make the right decision more than Fermin, right? So far, Fermin has definitely improved in that. But there are still moments where you're just like, come on, bro, what are you doing? But besides that, Fermin so far, again, he has definitely improved. We all saw the player that he was during the summer in the Olympics. I'm sure Hansi Flick was 100% excited to get this player in his team. We all saw the news of him potentially getting sold to Chelsea. None of us bought it. None of us was like, no way can this happen unless we get like 100 mil or something. Hansi Flick clearly wanted him to stay. Fermin wanted to stay, and he's been playing a pivotal part so far this season. So he clearly has to continue being our number 10 until Dani Olmo steps up and proves us wrong. But as of now, Fermin clearly. Now the attack force: the right wing, the striker, and the left winger. Right winger, Kemen. Clearly, Lamine Yamal, cada día te quiero más. Clearly, the best player in the world has to play and start for Barcelona every single game when he's available. Of course, Lamine Yamal hasn't been perfect this season. We all know why. He's been suffering with some pain. He's been suffering with some problems. And clearly, we have not seen anywhere near Lamine Yamal at his 100%. I say right now we're getting maybe 55, 60%. Lamine Yamal, nowhere near 100 like what we saw last season, right? But still, even Lamine at 50%, 55%, he still offers incredible things for Barcelona, right? We all know how much of a pivotal player he is. Again, one of the best players in the world. And I think the game where it was just completely emphasized how much of an influential player he is and how he can just carry this team was against Club Brugge, where without him, we still no chance, right? We still no chance. So Lamine Yamal clearly starts, like no one gets in front of him ever. And again, hopefully later going into the season, hopefully after international break, Lamine does get back to a 100% level that we hope he can get to. I mean, he left in the international camp with some injury or, I don't think it's anything serious. I think he just felt pain. I don't know what the case was. But hopefully Lamine can eventually get back to his level. I know the condition he's in right now is something that he has to work very hard to recover from. And of course, one of the main ways to recover from that is getting rest, for sure. But we also understand that he's such a pivotal player that we low-key have to risk playing him. We low-key do have to risk playing him. But at the same time, you have to be very smart and intelligent. Like, I'm sure everyone is working like with the brain and understanding that Lamine can be risked for the long term. If you're going to risk him for the long term, you're idiots. But if he's good and he can still manage it, all right, perfect, play him. But I'm sure they're all like working together. I'm sure Lamine is smart enough to be like, all right, yo, I can't play. You know, I'm feeling too much pain right now. And of course, he wants to play in that World Cup, and he can't play there if he's injured, right? So, again, Lamine, even when he's not at 100%, he still offers incredible things for Barcelona. So clearly, he starts. Now, the two main discussions that I think a lot of us are going to have: the striker position and the left wing position. Who are the two players we're going to trust up top with Lamine Yamal? Our poacher, our number 9, who will we trust? It's between Lewandowski and Ferran El Tiburón Torres. And I opted for Lewandowski. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, what is wrong with you? Lewandowski, he's old. He's unk. He's mega unk. Why are you still trusting him? And I understand that because I was definitely before the season saying that, hey, Lewandowski, you're old. I don't care how many TikTok dances you do. You're not convincing me that you are still the same Lewandowski you were obviously in your prime, or even going to recreate what you did last season, right? I had my doubts going into the season. And of course, also those doubts of his future with Barcelona, because it is looking like currently that this will be his last season with Barcelona, right? So that means you have to take the back seat. That means the next players have to step up, because they're clearly the future and the right now of Barcelona, right? And that future is Ferran Torres. I was opting for Ferran Torres being our main number 9 going into this season, and of course Lewandowski being a super sub, right? And at the beginning, that was the case. Ferran Torres was our number 9 for most of the games until he got injured, and then Lewandowski got injured, and then we have to change things up, right? But still, I was opting for Ferran. At the beginning, I thought Ferran started off pretty solid. He scored some goals, some good, some pretty good games. But after his injury, I've not been convinced. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, hey, you're recency bias because Lewandowski just came from scoring an incredible hat-trick against Celta Vigo. And for sure, that is, I'm being a little bit recency biased as well, because it's not like Lewandowski has been sensational so far this season either. But it's a matter of, in the important games at least, I want to trust Lewandowski to be our main number 9. He has to be our number 9 until Ferran just gets back to his level, because Ferran, again, he just hasn't been great. Like, this guy is very inconsistent. The same thing with Dani Olmo, where you play one game good, he played one game well, he scored a goal, he had a great game, and then the next game he plays like shit. It's just like very confusing with this guy. Like, trust me, I've been a supporter of Ferran since we signed him. Even in his terrible moments where he was nowhere near good enough, with the same situation as Eder Garcia, where you're just like, yo, you gotta leave, you gotta dip, bro. You're not good enough. I was still defending Ferran Torres. And I even said a crazy thing like, yo, who needs Julian Alvarez? We got Ferran Torres. Yeah, clearly I was drunk when I said that. But Ferran Torres, he's just been too inconsistent. And right now, I think he has to probably just take the back seat a little bit until he gets that confidence back and gets back to the level he was, right? But we also got to think about, is Ferran Torres more of a super sub rather than an actual starter for Barcelona, right? Because last season he did incredible. Again, another revelation. We're like, wow. But it was a question mark of, not question mark, it was more of a thing of him coming off the bench and playing a major role rather than him starting games, right? Because a lot of his impact came from being a super sub, right? So maybe that's the role that he'll have to take on. Maybe that's the role that he'll play for Barcelona this season, considering, again, we don't have any other striker besides Lewa and him, right? I don't want to play Rashford up there for sure. So as I think for right now, Lewa should start. I'm not saying he should start every single game. There will be games where they'll have to rotate because Lewa doesn't have the capabilities of playing every single game, right? And getting the best out of him every single game. But I think for right now, Lewa should start. Now moving on to the final position. Posicione. I don't know what I just said. But the final position, the left winger. Who should be FC Barcelona's winger from now until, again, like I said, mid-season, basically? Rafinha, or Marcus Rashford. Who should be the left winger? For those that watched the video that I made a couple days ago about Marcus Rashford, I think you'll know what my answer is. Marcus Rashford. Okay. Marcus Rashford. I think it's clear that Marcus Rashford for right now should be our left winger. Continue being our left winger. Marcus Rashford has stepped up this season so far. He's putting up numbers basically every single game. He's been, contributing a lot to this Barcelona team, and he's been in form, and he's been playing with confidence. And the last thing you want to do is kill that confidence, because you want to immediately substitute him for a player who's been injured, and again, just because his name is Rafinha and because of what he did last season, you're just going to put him in and sub Rashford out, who's been stepping up so far for Barcelona, right? And it's not to say that Rafinha doesn't deserve any type of spot, because I think Rafinha 100% deserves a spot to start in this team. But right now he has competition, and that competition is a player who's been in form, which is Marcus Rashford. So again, the last thing you want to do is kill that confidence and just completely take him out the team just because a player returned, right? I think, like I said in that Rashford video, Rafinha has to fight for his spot. Not saying that he has no chance, that he just has to fight for his spot. Because one thing that I've been consistent about since the beginning of the season is that I just don't see these two players playing together. I don't see them. I don't see where they can fit, because I don't want to sacrifice Rashford playing as a striker just to put Rafinha on the left hand side. I don't want to sacrifice having to put continue Rashford on the left hand side and then putting Rafinha as a 10 just so they can play together, just so you can fit both of them in. Because we saw it against Levante and it wasn't a great game at all, right? So it's been experimented already and it didn't work. And again, I've been consistent. We have two number 10s with Fermin and Dani Olmo. Both of them had to start. They're both natural number 10s. So either one of them has to start as a number 10. Not Rafinha just to play Rafinha. All right? I just don't see them playing together. And it's competition. That's just how it is. So it's either one of them plays on the left-hand side, and that's it. No, they can't. I don't see them both. I just don't see how they can both play together, unless you want to experiment playing number 10 Lamine Yamal as the number 10, and then Rafinha on the right hand side, his natural position, right? But still, we've all seen that Rafinha, his best position, his best season he's had was playing on the left hand side, right? So I'm sorry, it's just how it is, right? And it's just how it is. Again, I'm not gonna say that I've been overly impressed every single game throughout a whole 90 performance with Rashford. But he's had his moments where, again, he just contributes. Like against Celta Vigo, that beautiful cross he made for Lewandowski. Like that game against Newcastle, those beautiful 2 goals that he scored. Like, these are the moments that he has. And he's been impactful so far for Barcelona season, right? So, the last thing, again, you want to do is kill that confidence and take him out completely. Again, they're like, him and Rafinha are similar, right? Where I'm not totally impressed by a whole 90 performance where they're not like Lamine Yamal, you know, that incredible winger where they're just completely destroying their side every single time, every single minute. But it's just about those moments where they have such an impact that they can clearly influence a game in a positive way for Barcelona, right? And again, Rashford just been doing it. He's been stepping up, where when the other main players like Rafinha have been out, Rashford subbed in, and he's been great. He's been great so far. So again, let's not kill the momentum until he gives us a reason to take him out, right? So let's not kill his momentum. Let's keep him playing. And then Rafinha, again, they'll rotate eventually, right? They'll rotate. But for right now, Rafinha, take a bit of a backseat. Let Rashford do his thing. And if he starts playing poor, boom. Again, that's the beauty of competition, having depth. And that's just what competition is. And both those players understand what that means, right? They both understand what it means. So we'll see. We'll see. I think against Chelsea, we'll ultimately see what the strongest team Hansi Flick thinks he has. You know, what is the strongest team that he would go for in these important games, because that's the next big game we have. Against Atletico Madrid will also be another clear a clear picture of what Hansi Flick's best team will be, right? So we'll see what those games, how he lines up. But in my opinion, that is the lineup that I think Hansi Flick should go with as the strongest 11 from now going forward. When of course everyone's back, because again, with Pedri still at if, we're Rafinha, John Garcia, they will be back, but you know, we still gotta see, right, if everything's true. So to sum it up one more time, John Garcia in goal, back line of Alejandro Balde, Pau Cubarsí, Ronald Araujo, Eric Garcia, midfield of Frankie de Jong, Pedri Gonzalez, Fermin Lopez, and up top, Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, and Marcus Rashford. That is the 11 that I think Barcelona should go up with from now, after international break, and in the important games for sure. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Again, if you have different opinions, please let me know down in the comments. Let's have a conversation. I really want to hear you guys' opinions. Okay? Let's do it. Much love. Take care. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time we upload. Share to friends love football. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Peace. Motherfucker.